Trying to get the skin of your dream for a long time but can't get it in any way? On our website, you have a unique opportunity to get your favorite knife. Users on our site can hand out skins themselves, and participants need to fulfill some simple conditions. For example, watch a video or buy a case on our website. After that, you automatically become a member of the distribution. Go to the user giveaways tab and do what you like. Hellcase.
Do you have any unnecessary skins or want to sell them? Try SkinPlace. Visit the website, select the skins you want to use. Easily fill your Steam trade link. Make sure we offer good prices and choose a payment method. Hit the button and boom! Instant cash. Safety. Low commissions. Instant payouts. SkinPlace.
Welcome back to our last match of the CCT day. As of, breaking news to us, we've got quite the hard one to decipher between Preasy and the Young Ninjas, because typically when you put these two teams head to head, when you look at the lineups and when you look at all of the data going into it, you would say, I think this should be Preasy's pretty handedly. However, with the knowledge that they're playing with a stand-in, I'm not entirely sure what to make of this. Why not? What hits you in this series to say maybe or maybe not it's Preasy favored?
Yeah, well, I think that you hit on a really good point in the fact that you look at these two teams and you say on any given day probably head-to-head it could go either direction, especially considering the fact that both of them are technically academy rosters. It was Preasy who had bumped up their academy roster to the main after they had lost what was their Nikados, Roy roster just about, I think, maybe 6 months ago, maybe that. But even still, these two going head-to-head, relatively similar in age range as well, with very experienced coaches in Spray XD and Asilian behind them. I think that really coming down to it is the fact that we do now have information that Tops is actually going to be substituting for one of the players on the Preasy roster currently in Griller, and that's something that doesn't really bode well.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because you never really know how much of an impact it's going to have to lose one of your main pieces, and then alongside that, you don't have a lot of data to go off of for a team like the Young Ninjas. Now, the Young Ninjas of old that everybody became to, know in the scene was this huge grinder team. They would upset a lot of teams in Tier 2. They would make really deep runs. This is a different squad. They've only played 4 series since the player break. It's been quite small. Few and far between are their games. They haven't played in a ton of events. And outside of the qualifier for this event, they haven't really done all that much. Now, as an opening best of 3 in the CCT Series 8, I think there's a lot of teams you could want to play and a lot of teams you could want to avoid. This is one of those teams I think is more beatable, or in the realm for the Young Ninjas to potentially make an upset against. Now, there's a lot of unknowns to the player parts of it too. You said they've got some pretty good coaching behind them. I tend to agree, but I think the individuals are really what makes this roster so special, because you've got players from all over the place. People like YoCab on the Young Ninjas. I think even though he's young, he's been around for a little bit of time, to the point where I've seen him a couple of times in different Tier 2 events. He has had his own runs, his own tenures, his own mainstays in different teams. Then you've got ex-Kaspersky, who has been farming, apparently, in the few games that he's played. This could be the amalgamation of something good, and the pieces are starting to line up.
Certainly so. I think that this team has had quite some time to really start to mesh to the point where I think in the next couple of months we'll probably see them either hitting their stride or, unfortunately, if this is going to be the case, their peak, right? It's kind of one or another at this point, as Blue Phoenix has gotten his official chance with this team as of the last 2, now extending to 3 months. Same for ex-Kaspersky. He's now hit his 3-month mark, and he's been by far and beyond one of the better, if not the best player in this team consistently enough since joining. And that's something that I wanted to attribute to the system being built by Mistim, as well as an in-game leader who started out in rifler roles that were star roles in his time following the beginnings of ATK, for example, and then moving into that role. He's continued on with it, so it's not just one of the flash-in-the-pan decisions that he's made in order to extend his career or anything by that nature, but it certainly has opened up doors of opportunity to him at only 22 years old.
I mean, this whole roster is insanely young. 22 years old being one of their most aged players.
Yeah.
It says something, right? But then, on the flip side of things for Preasy, we talked about how this was pretty much their ex-Academy roster, but at the same time, there's still a couple of really interesting players on this team. I think Jay Bowen coming in from, the Astralis Talent Squad, they have bred so many great players in that specific team that I feel like every time somebody gets shipped out from them, my eye is on it. Now, beyond that, it is a bunch of unknowns. It's a load of what-ifs and maybe hows. I can't really put it beyond that because there hasn't been a ton of insane results. They have had a good fair showing. Taking him out off of TSM, I don't think you can write that off. Going, I'd say, decently far in the last course qualifier because they took their opening BO3 against Leon, even though it's not really a big team. Point is, they've gotten their reps, but they haven't really punched up yet. And that's what I'm waiting to see from this team. Again, I don't expect a ton with the names they've put together. I don't know if this is even going to be the main roster forever. You almost wonder if this is kind of like a shoe-in or a placeholder for them until they can, put together what they pretty much had before the whole Nikados roster kind of imploded and got poached. So, again, on a good day, maybe with the fact they wouldn't be playing with a substitute, but Tops comes in, and while he's a good player, I don't really know if that changes much.
Yeah, I think that one thing, though, that needs to be kept in mind is the fact that he actually played for this team once already in the beginning of 2024, or the end of 2023, rather. He was removed from the team and sent over to the Astralis Talent roster. So I'm not actually sure who he had been replaced by. I believe it was Roy who had joined in that point, and Tops was actually on the main roster for that team, which it was. But let's look back at the roster, or excuse me, at the veto, and see where these two teams look to clash, though, because I think that is going to be pretty telling as well to see where their comfort zones lie, if it's changed at all with a different player slotted into it. Because I think that it's certainly a map pool for Young Ninjas that has been not very wide, at least not in terms of range of success. I think that's something Preasy do have a leg up in.
Yeah, and I almost wonder where you want to take this, because there's a load of question marks surrounding, as you said, the veto for the Young Ninjas. And what's really cool about them is that they pick into Vertigo. I know it might be, me playing in my own happy side, because I do love that map personally, but you don't really see that nowadays, I feel. Like, even teams that enjoy Vertigo and keep it in their pool, I feel like more so use it as like a decider, or like a punish pick later on down the line. But this is a team that, even in the little bit we have seen, we have constantly seen Vertigo. It's almost always brought out by them. So that's a really neat thing. I think this is quite the unorthodox veto because of that. You've got Ancient, Vertigo, and Anubis. I like it, but I don't really know how much it's going to help the Young Ninjas. If I had to look at this veto, I could almost confidently say it favors Preasy at every step of the way, because while it is cool that the Young Ninjas like Vertigo, as I said earlier, being a team that has Vertigo in your pocket or in your pool, you're almost typically keeping it as a decider, or just being good at it because other teams might pick into it. And that's what happens here. Preasy, they were probably going to leave it as a decider option, just gets picked. Well, now every step of the way, they've got a map that they look pretty damn good on and have some pretty good wins on. So this is a punching up kind of series for sure for the Young Ninjas. I think with the way the vetoes have shaped out, I again go back to leaning in the side of Preasy, but I still don't know what that sub-in situation is going to have in store. So now the Young Ninjas, with their CT-sided start, get to try to make more of a name for themselves. Their 5th series since the player break. What do they got to show for it?
Yeah, just play devil's advocate. I think the wins that Young Ninjas have are actually better than those that Preasy have had in recent history.
I think that they're definitely going to be putting up a challenge on that, if any map in this series. But Preasy, I give
not only entirely, in my opinion, the map here of Ancient. I think we look towards Anubis, and that's where things get put to shambles for the Ninjas. I think this is actually a 2-0 necessity for them that I don't really find to be all that possible in general. But again, a safe haven in Vertigo to at least extend their lifeline should they fall here. I actually do give them the warrant to. But in this one, we see already that there's now been a little bit of an exchange of damage and also an exchange of rotations from the Young Ninjas, having spotted out considerable amounts towards mid, now stacking up their bodies in this B site, and there's 4 players here leaving only a singular player in the captain and missed them to hold out on A.
And they're about to go into A. I was going to say, you can't give away this much room. I mean, eventually, they're going to expect or hear somebody in CT, right? And these rotations are going to come through, but you've only got to get 1 kill. Look at this. Equip never actually came through to clear out Temple, so he gets saved from falling to the 4-man rotation through CT spawn and gets a free kill out of it. A smoke covers up CT. They've got the site for free, and alongside that, Equip's just taking another through it. So doesn't look like this one's got very much longer to it. Tops has already tucked himself into Temple, and maybe a trade's in order, but that's exactly what Equip's there for on the flip side. He's looking for more. Every kill so far up to his hands, and the ace in store for the pistol could really set the tone early on, but Casper Sky is the one guy for the Young Ninjas that has made this team a little more notable as of late. With a couple of headshots, we're right back on. Kits drop near Temple, but he's running out of time. And maybe some bullets alongside that. Jay Bowen has no intentions of giving up this kill, but look at him struggling to find that kit, wondering where it's gone down to, because that's his only way back into the round. But at this point, all you gotta do if you're Becky is sit back, in spawn, and wait, because eventually, even with this headshot, there won't be enough time, and I believe...
I think he's got it, nope.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, I believe this is Preasy's round. Almost tossed aside, but that's why you can't count him out.
Oh my lord. That was near perfect from both parties to find 4Ks in that round. Well, this last couple of kills that were popped out from this USP were as quick as they could possibly have been, and the bomb wasn't planted for Becky towards spawn side, of course having to be aware of Donut and A-Main more than anything else. Where else is he going to look? Still able to swing back into CT spawn, get a 4th kill, a little bit of money made, and even so, I think they're going to go for the force back off the back of that much. They get the A1S into the hands of Joe Cab, scout for silence, pistols across the board for the rest, not saving a dime really. They are going to be battling it out in mid, sending their utility out to be able to go for these fights. The fully automatic rifle only good for its first.
But that's an easy recovery, right? Like, with that smoke still bloomed in middle, with the fact that you've got that cover at least somewhat noted from Cave, you just walk back up and grab the M4, so who cares that it only gets 1? Potato it and see how far it can take you. So far, pretty damn. Opening kill, damage on 2, and you've got this push coming through from B ramp that is still putting on more damage. There's only 1 man unscathed, and he's holding a mid push.
They gotta get one of these rifles back to him sooner rather than later, I would hope. The lowest of HP players at 9 holding the AK-47 doesn't really give me a whole lot of hope, but Becky putting good use to that Galil as he's still on decently even standing with the rest of these players. He's gotten a toe in towards the bottom B steps, already having swept that position away, and all the map control that the CTs have worked so hard to gain early on, including the man advantage that was once turned into a 4 versus 4, has now gotten them detrimental. In the stance towards the A site is a single scout and a sight line not held for mid. They are going to be going for the gamble stack in, and this could be everything, but also rerouting to our Preasy through the doors. It's a house crawl, and they've got 30 seconds, so it's going to have to be a committal into either direction they turn, and as you see that they send one inside of the donut side as well, that should be the warning signs early that A site is being held, and it's immediately back to
that! Oh my god, that's so smart. At the start, I'm wondering why they have him so far ahead of the pack for Equip. I thought with being one of the only people on 100 HP, he should just be waiting for his team to get contact. But no, by doing this, they get to decide on this B-side split. And because of it, the Young Ninjas aren't even going to bother attempting the retake. That is quite literally the difference between winning and losing that round. Preasy were about to walk into a 3-man A stack, and while sure they had numbers up, what they didn't have was health. This scout was essentially an op. This M4 was essentially whatever the hell you wanted it to be.
Holding onto the A1S is going to be nice. A force buy that didn't quite net them what they wanted to, despite early beginnings.
It looked like it could have comboed together something for them. Not able to trade out onto the lower HP players they had damaged early. Come back to bite them just that little bit, but again, as you mentioned, a great read to really circumnavigate the dangers entirely of one of these 2 bomb sites that have been stacked in the read.
It pans out, they find their second round, and can buy up these rifles just the same around them as the CTs are left now to go for that slightly more deep save than they had previously, but everything that they had carried over into the previous has been brought over here, so it's effectively going to be the same round. It's just a stronger Preasy to go up against, and I don't foresee them going for as deep in control as they did last, considering the fact that they already sent one smoke out, only with one HE, one molly, one flash to go. It's going to have to be something coordinated in the middle stages of the round to try and make damage happen, and already you'll see mid players taking these considerable amounts of HE damage. Utility for the T side maybe even better off, as they found their kill out of Blue Phoenix before he's even seen anyone.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but that's also the problem with rounds like this for the Young Ninjas. When you don't bring in a ton of utility going for these mid-round execs, these late-round pushes or retakes of map control, it typically doesn't work that well, but it's a mistake caught by Mistim that keeps them on the map for this round, and I don't think he's backing away anytime soon. You need more. You can't win it off of the one kill, and there isn't a trade in sight. Another robbery of a kill from Casper Sky, and at this point, to be progressed into a 3-on-3, that's not bad.
Something that's not good, though, is the fact that once again they've managed to get Equip over in through CT spawn. Jokeb holding this A site from Donut. It's going to be called by Equip that the rest of it is clean, but I think that they'll still brush this through as they should, but not fully. Equip not seeing anybody tucked into the backside. Skase might not be ready for this one, and he's back turned, shoulder spotted, and tapped through the 5-7, able to do it, and they need to get up into his face or at least get something in terms of map control before this bomb is planted. And here they go, out and in, AK retrieved, but no head armor to go along with it. It'll be oh my lord, I was gonna say Kierby. It's so hard to say this name and read it, but 8-0 is ex-Casper Sky.
Dude, you just can't touch this guy. You really can't.
Oh my lord.
Wow, they call a timeout? Wow, I'm shocked.
I think there's a lot of money discussions probably to be had. You see one player go into the AK-47. Oh no, wait, it's the CT side who called it. That's probably why you're shocked. Okay. Well, the op is out, so.
That's weird, no?
That they call the timeout, or that the op is out?
That they called a timeout.
I don't know, I feel like you probably got to get your game plan together with a round you weren't actually expecting, or at least going into the next you had your full buy on then. You probably weren't expecting to have an op, for one.
I mean,
have a game plan ready.
I guess.
Also, you're probably now needing to also rethink how Preasy are going to approach this situation. And they full bought into it, you know, 2 pistols, like, it's not like they're going to be going for a save, but they could very well go for something like a fast B play, and you see a lot of bodies heading in that direction. Anthran 5, 3 of which are already through the doors.
I don't think the op is here. No, it isn't. I can't tell.
It is.
It might be the back square. Yup, and that's a problem. They are not ready for that whatsoever. No smoke for the left side. No flashes to cover them up. But they have gotten around him with damage quite mitigated. Casper Sky, though, somehow a double from around that pillar that leaves Silence to shut this round right down. Trades, they've been a problem for Preasy these past couple of rounds. Very notably, if that continues, it's a one-way ticket to getting upset.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought for sure that trade was available for him on center site. It looked like that Galil had heads-up duel every day of the week as he phased through the smoke, didn't even have vision, didn't even have first bullet. Still managed to find him. 10 kills, another multi, and another round of impact, and he's relegated to the MP9 as a thank you reward. But maybe that's actually going to be the best thing for him, as everyone else on the T side is left with no body armor, no utility. They're going full dry to have everything afforded to them in the 5th round, or excuse me, the 6th. As here, he's getting active. There's one. Nobody else towards shelf. The rest towards the bottom side of mid. Need to be laser focused and accurate with this one at range, because there's not really a way for him to jump down into the open. Still manages to find yet another multi. An AK-47 upgrade for Blue Phoenix. And 4 rifles. 3 fully automatic. 1 sniper in variety brought over into this as the CT side have really just started to get a serious groove flowing on Ancient, and that's dangerous for Preasy at this point, Anthran, considering that fact that we were talking about that Vertigo. We're talking about the fact that that's probably where they're going to do their best work, taking the least favorite of the 2 sides here are Preasy, albeit, but even so.
I mean, we even have to consider, right, a lot of these rounds have come down to the wire. The pistol round that they won, it was down to a difference of maybe half a second. The second round that they lost, it was maybe 1 kill going the wrong way. And I already love what we're seeing out of Silence on this op, being so fluid with the op, considering you've only had it for 2 rounds, and keeping Preasy on their toes. You don't want to test the absolute dumpster fire that was the last take, but if you can't, 1, fix the spacing issues, and 2, stop Casper Sky from doing as good as he is, then this game might already be over.
Tight angle. Not one you typically expect to hit a shot on, but a timing off the flashbang. Silence fires out, makes his position known at the very least, but his teammates good for theirs. But mid now left a little bit vacant, and decisions for Preasy now as the CTs are quite spread across this map in a little bit of an arch shape. Now regrouping to where the line is formed on the backside of the B site. The line is going to be for a retake more than anything else, with a nade from the sniper to get back if he wants to send it on a default. But other than that, it's going to have to be some shots into the dark, quite literally, by Casper Sky, who sends them ringing. Nobody going to be on the receiving end of it, though, and they will be playing in a 4 versus 4 for this retake after all. Preasy probably pretty happy with that, but from here on out, considering that the CTs have flashbangs, that could be their biggest asset, but Blue Phoenix going down, that's going to make this a much more difficult affair.
They might make it an impossible affair. There's so many different angles to try and clear. Casper Sky has to do it all again, so he does! Another double headshot! What is this guy, man? It's another multi-kill. We are 6 rounds in. He has 15 frags.
This is getting a little bit out of hand. This is not something you'll see every day, let alone every other or every 10, every year. Currently sitting upon, I think, 250 ADR, near 2.
That's just
yeah, the absolute impact is round after round. Closer to 200 ADR, excuse me. It's been updated. Yeah,
I'm modest.
Yeah. A cool 200. Tack timeout, guys. What do we do to this guy?
Incredible, bro.
He's got more kills than his entire team combined. And I guess the entire enemy team combined, if my math is correct. No, close to it. Just one below.
Again, modest.
A cool, crisp, clean.
The worst part is that you're going into an eco, right? So it's not even like you can bring rifles out, try to put a harsh halt to his spree. And it's so weird, because it's not even like he is set up for these kills, if that makes any sense. Like, it's not like you're, double flashing him in, you're mollying, you're doing all that. He's just playing his role. He's just doing his job, and every time they come his way, he is quite literally farming. And guess what? Again, here's stuff coming out mid. Guess who shows up? Casper Sky, and I am shocked J Bowen even bothers going through that smoke. I know Casper Sky's on the other side. I'm just gonna let him have the bomb, bro. It's yours.
A site is not going to be easy to hold on to with only a MAC-10. Jobin, I think, is probably more likely going to just let this SMG cook, but not great that he gets a flank in the back of Silence. And he's not going to be checking periodically enough as he's turned. It's just an instant shot that he would have had to have hit. It's not something you can call upon him for, but something we can call upon for the CT side is Casper Sky to find a multi, already having found that one previously mentioned, still with full HP and still with a teammate to help siphon off the difference. And the tap on, full stick, Mistim's got him. Casper Sky gets a chance onto his, and stuck inside of the temple now is Tops. He's got to battle his way out and through, and I don't think that the star player is really going to be all too favorable in it. I think he realizes that much, and a great read to rotate all the way around.
And this is a double positive too, right? Because now Casper Sky can come all the way through mid and grab this off. Or at least they should. It's taking quite the time to get to it, though. Oh my god, very last second. I mean, they've been killing it these past couple of rounds, right? But they can't really afford to just go throwing away up. So surprised there wasn't a little more emphasis put on grabbing it. Still though, this is a 5-round unanswered spree for the Young Ninjas that Preasy have kind of just felt a little lost in. We see a lot of these rounds come down to some miraculous shots being hit to keep from contention, including that last one, where it's star two openers from the Young Ninjas, and surprise, surprise, out of nowhere, it's just a double tech 9 frag back. The answer hasn't been consistent, and there's another nade, there's another opener, even double time. Again, this is the problem. Preasy can't seem to catch a break and find an answer for this consistently, and they continue to try and get out, but instead, they're getting shut out. Casper Sky through the B ramp smoke.
This guy's 17 years old. Polish Counter-Strike's got a player they can look at, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you right now, I don't know where he came from, I don't know how they scouted this kid, but so far in the almost half a year he's been with this team, They're putting up some serious numbers against some serious opposition. Even still, I think that, like, the names might be, albeit one win, Alliance, Passions UA, Nexus. But, like, these are teams that, like, it's good to beat, but beating them so hand over fist with such high impact levels, right? It's kind of undeniable, the level that he's playing at least on a one-on-one, straight-up mechanical sort of way of looking at it. Doesn't get much better than that.
This is a bright-looking future with players like him on your team. Casper Spy's getting another for free. There's just no question about it. And now you've got a 4-man A approach to try and defend if you're silenced. I wonder if they're going to grab this info soon enough, though. They will, just by the fact that all of the footsteps are heard sprinting out into the site. And that's where Blue Phoenix comes in, denying them of any kills in the past 2 rounds. His spree is really getting out of hand, and we originally called this off for Preasy. I'm sorry, for the Young Ninjas. We thought this was Preasy's map to take, and there wasn't really much standing between them, but here, it looks night and day. I mean, the score is beyond out of hand at this point, and yes, while it's recoverable, it's just the way we got here that leads me to believe so.
Utility of the HE in tandem with the Molotov from Casper Sky is burnt, equipped out 100-0, man. Nothing he could have done, and Becky even on the receiving end of a lot of damage as well. Spotting the gun barrel. Ooh, a little bit careless maybe to go in for the overextension at that rate. It's a man advantage now thrown away. Despite them having bottom mid-side control, they're going to need to gain something back soon because they can hold on to bottom mid as long as they want. But A is susceptible, and the B site so too. And if they crunch down, there's good room for them to maybe find a body or two free. And the op actually going a little brazen. Almost looked like he was going to go leaping and bounding on the other end. But YoCab taking up the same position his teammate had a few moments ago, much more successfully so.
I love that bait from the Young Ninjas. So well orchestrated because Becky was such a hard angle to clear and quite the nuisance to deal with. But look at this from Preasy. Surprisingly enough, are walking right back into B. This is what the Young Ninjas want. I mean, there's nothing else they could want more. Everybody here for them, and as soon as this smoke fades, all hell breaks loose. Now, the only issue is, look at who's leading the charge. It's Tops with the bomb. There isn't an extra way for you to reroute because the bomb's already dropped right in their laps. Chabot, and he can only go through it and hope for the best, but realistically speaking, when you walk into 3 different setup CTs, things aren't going to go your way. And instantly, as a rebuttal, we see a timeout called from Preasy. Not really a surprise, but what do you change? You haven't gotten a bomb plant in the last, 6 rounds? Maybe more?
I think 4 rounds ago they got one, but even still, that's nothing.
I mean, you aren't at the point where you're getting bombed down and you can, consistently rebuy and rebuy and rebuy. Like, you're going eco for eco. You're going blow for blow. Right? You can't do that, especially on Ancient as AT. This is not the map to be going buy, save, buy, save, buy, save.
Well, they kind of have to do whatever at this point. It's like buy every round, like until win or lose out. Because this round is the second to last, the next is the last. They've afforded themselves enough with the loss bonus, seeing where it is to be able to get everything they need into the next. Phoenix not able to get out of the way of the Tech 9, running him down the off. Not in the best position to be able to pull the pistol. And another one with no ammo left into the gun. It's Becky who gets Tops and is silenced by Silence, who finds yet another and damage on the other end nonetheless. It's a 1v3, and the sniper, having managed to do that damage, looked like it should have been enough to have secured the round, but Jobian with the bomb, with now an AK-47, but no armor though, to try and clutch this one out 1v2.
Yeah, but this is already impossible. I mean, they know this is a possibility. They hear the fact that Sound's been cut. Oh, missed him. He's just turned away. That is so unfortunate because now it's a free kill.
Don't call it
Jay
impossible.
Bowen, he's going back into beat, and he knows exactly where YoCab's coming from. His turn to step up for a clutch potential. And wait a second, is he reading the wrong thing? He is. Oh, you've been mega-minded, son. Yo, Cab, I don't even know how you crack back into the site now. You've got util, but I mean, so many different angles to clear out when you're going back into B. So many different places, little niche spots that he can hide in. And with 36 health helping him, I don't really think there's much on his side. All really a matter of time. You'd imagine smoke goes straight on top of the bomb, Molly to the right side, basic stuff as he taps and gets the info! So he sprints out after the bullets come through and makes me look like a fool. Apparently everything goes right when they need it to for the Young Ninjas.
Adjustment there from the crosshair as soon as position is made known. Shut down at the final hurdle. Despite making the right moves pretty much all the way across the board, it's the post-plant 1v1 that can't be found, and another tack timeout before the half is even concluded in better time than any, as double digits is upon them. The CTs having accumulated an undeniable lead, and money enough to where a double-up setup to close is more than doable with Blue Phoenix at the second. The sniper only having died 4 times, you'd think, but he hasn't really been doing a whole hell of a lot this game. He hasn't really had to. At every turn where he needs to find the kill, gets his one at the very most, getting a double. To where Casper Sky has been doing the heavy lifting under the rifle, multi-frag after multi. In positions where probably you expect him only to be able to find maybe 1. You see like 2 and then 3 brought out. But then from then onwards, we start to see the rest of these players elevating themselves to that same level and expectation.
Well. I have no idea how the hell we ended up here. Looking back, I'm just thinking about that 2-0 start from Preasy, and ever since, man, it's a straight gutter ball. And they go back to what hasn't worked before, mid-control, which has usually gotten them decimated, but this time it's quite the hands-off approach from the Young Ninjas, letting them have it, instead opting to hold the extremities a little stronger with the op now in-house. Casper Sky inside of Donut, try to cave. Walking out, got 2 players looking the wrong way, so guess what? Maybe a feeding frenzy for Casper Sky, or maybe a shell of what he's done in this game. Still, 20 kills, you can't really write it off. It's an average of almost 2 a round. But it looks like maybe, just maybe, it's enough for the Preasy boys to get back on the board and get something a little more fightable. This is the worst of situations, but you still have to get there. And Silence has more of an objection to raise before you do it. Another smoke thrown out. Now beyond that, you're pretty much assisted by flashes.
Plant this bomb. Silence not really able to swing out wide enough, taking a shot through and not able to land it. He needs Blue Phoenix to get back into it, but on low HP. Trades from the op to the rifle, actually. Maybe they'll trade back again. I'm not entirely sure, as they've got utility to at least keep across these positions one after another. They have a pair of players inside of the cave now smoked off. A flash high to get back into sight, and Silence is zoning while Blue Phoenix scales. A boost over top side of the box, not going to be spotting out anything, but tapping away. Try and gain vision, does, and tops with the presence of mind. But the last player should be near enough by, calls upon Becky for the swing. It's a run round back at the end, but that's probably not going to be enough for them if I have to wager, but there's still a long climb. The game isn't over yet.
But you do need the pistol, I think. You can't just go on a spree like this, maybe grab 1 round is something, is a heroic play in the last round. Not the way they got it, but the round itself is heroic. And then lose the pistol and hope for the best. You gotta find something as a follow-up. I guess the benefit is you swap to the more favorable of the 2 sides. You get some dualies on the board. But I want to see more people step up. I mean, there's a good and bad thing to what we've seen from Preasy right now, and it's that everybody is about on the same level as one another, right? There isn't really an anchor, but at the same time, there isn't a star. Nobody's shining and answering back for what Casper Sky's put up. Now the dualies try to change that, but Tops gets topped himself. And they've already seized control of the A site pretty easily. A couple of players inhibit Donut from being taken away. T-side now starting to struggle a bit as the bomb goes down, and the dualies come back through to finally provide an answer in the 2-on-4. It's a Glock of Silence against the world, and he stands up to every single one of them, except Becky, who now has no idea that Mistim has crept into the angle that 3 of his teammates just took up. So why would you ever expect him to be here? Well, now he's suspicious of it, spinning back and forth. Mistim eventually is going to make his move, but now at this point, you know Betchy's not stuck onto it. And I wonder if Even he is in his own head. Another tap of the bomb. There isn't a kit, but knowing he's off of it and doesn't have one means this round, it's already over. Even if this kill comes in, it's irrelevant because the Young Ninjas have timed them out once again.
Silence is just able to spam his mouse one and donut there. They're lining up 3 players actually back to back to back. He's bound to hit a stray headshot onto one of the 3 of them, and he'll take all 3 if they're going to hand it to him in a silver platter like that. 10 rounds, as easy as it gets from a clutch where it should have been as difficult as it could be, but 7 rounds now the gap. And Preasy now with no time to waste. They have to throw everything, all their eggs into one basket, buying up. With no more timeouts to take in order to discuss the game plan, it's just going to have to be them on the fly. Improving whatever it may be they want to send the way of their opponents to flash off the walls. He's only one player out wide enough to be able to take the duel, but actually after the fact they go in and they best them one after another. CCT might have just done it, and Mistum's got to hide inside of the Molotov. Goes Betchy, the one missed him to drop because he was so low,
though.
And now he needs his teammate to help out in silence, but where is he? He's over at A.
Oh, but they're so head over heels to try and stop him from getting this kill or stop him from getting away that they've just completely neglected the A site. And while, yes, Young Ninjas currently have no idea that both Preasy members have pushed up inside of Cave, and that's why you're seeing the hesitation from Silence, they've gotten missed him out for free. And with how far away Preasy is, you're guaranteed going to get these clears. You're guaranteed going to get control of the site and easy post plans on top of that. You still have to worry about J-Bone's health, too. So, Skaze, if he doesn't pull this off, then nobody probably get missed.
What are we doing?
What? I don't
like this at all.
He's not going to get back into the site now. He's dead. What?
I don't know. I don't know what the thought process there was. I think it was just, I guess having the AK-47 hold angles while missed and planted would have been one thing. That's not what happens at all, and he also doesn't realize that they could have head back in towards the site where the bomb was let loose. And he's just shot down. That felt like a completely different Young Ninjas team than what we've seen.
I'm just going to say it, that might be the most boneheaded play I've seen in years. Look, I get it. I get what you want to do. Because we have to understand it from the perspective that the Young Ninjas don't, like, there's a massive question mark on the map of, like, mid, of donut, of house. There's so many different spots that they don't actually know where Preasy are or aren't. So it's easy for us to see on our x-rays, you know, that both Preasy members are all the way pushed in B ramp, but why would you just throw the bomb to your low HP player in CT? When mid is a question mark, like, that doesn't make any sense. They could have easily gotten a safe plant for 8 tons. They just didn't want it. And look at where it's put them. Pistols, Tech 9s, Deagles, P250s, and so far, no answers in sight. I mean, when you put them against rifles, that's kind of the status quo. But maybe you slither into B, maybe you sneak a bomb plant down. But as for actually winning the round, as of this current rate, forget about it. You have to hope maybe they make a big flub on this retake attempt, because it is 4-on-5. You do at least have the kill from Casper Sky, and maybe something more to bloom with that molly not entirely landing home. It's only pushed Silence to an uncomfortable angle for now. He retakes up his post on the pillar, and they're going to pad back in. 1 MAC-10, the P250 and Tech 9 to hold the cross, and 1 man with a piece of utility out. What is going on? Missed him. Trying to make more of a chaos or chaotic motion out of it, now sneaking through the smoke. Casper Sky isn't actually caught, but 3 kills, a bomb plant, that's more than I'd bargained for going into this round.
That's actually huge, man. It all starts with Casper Sky's Deagle shot down range over to the long player. That's the first, and it delays the CTs onto their way back in. It allows maybe a little bit more time for the Young Ninjas to prepare themselves for the duels as they come through, and honest and truthfully, maybe going out a little bit too wide with Skase there, trying to drop utility onto the ramp before the smoke towards towards cave side had plumed. It gives Mistum an easy first frag, a timing into where when he jumps through the smoke, might have been able to find the second player over towards long as well. It's these little things to where maybe some fumbling of utility, the scroll wheels sending themselves between different pieces of their equipment, really do come back to bite them, and the Young Ninjas not affording to reinvest fully into this one is good, because again, they just keep their economy pressure on their opponents and get themselves into good standings for their next full buy. But more kills from here on out could really spell disaster for the head-to-head of Rifle v Rifle for Preasy.
Does set him up well. I don't even know if they're going to need it with how well Casper's guys looked. I mean, it's not just his M4. It's not just the little AK we've seen from him. It's everything, dude. So I'm not even going to count him out of a kill in this round. Really, all just depends on who gets the better angle first. They all swing into Donut, and it looks like some normalcy will be restored for now. Trades, again, seem to be quite the problem, but it is also pistols, so we'll let him off the hook this time. Preasy start to add something up on the CT side, and now is where things get a little interesting. If you want to maybe paint the picture of a comeback and going back into the stages we initially predicted, this is one of those rounds you're going to need to pull off. You're missing an op. Not a lot beyond that seems to be away from you. Full utility kits on every single man, and even an AK for good measure on J-Bone, so you can't blame it on lack of artillery here. Young Ninjas, this is a big round.
He steps control with 4, and nobody actually pressuring in from mid from the side of the Young Ninjas. It's going to be a little bit more heavy of a lean and a lurk late from JoeCab as they've already spaced up all through up the ramp. No one killing out that long flare where Casper Sky had been out too far. Avoided contact for a few seconds, but the rest now having the responsibility of cracking open another frag, in which they have. And JoeCab can now activate and leave the A site free for the take.
Again,
it's
look
just a
at
matter
it.
of escape.
I was going to say, you've already got a man posted up in CT. If you can get both of these players out somehow, wait, no, never mind. The bomb is literally on B.
Okay.
Never mind. It might not matter. High-low, though. Silence. Can you rip one away with you? I mean, Skaze is literally everything right now. If you get this kill on Skaze, first, and wait a little bit, I don't think this is the play for them to go moving into Cave. This is a guaranteed double kill for Preasy, no question. Silence is low. I mean, you spot the trade, but you can't calm that over in time. Like, that, yeah, I was going to say, that's such a hard bargain, right? Especially when you have such a great prong in JoeCab, but at the same time, now you seem to know where Skaze is. It's all about getting your timing right in the 1v1, and so he does. It's a close encounter to end off the round. It's nothing overwhelming from the Young Ninjas. It's not a dominant round by any stretch, but it's one that was teed into with all that damage done in previous rounds, with how this game has shifted and gone and twisted. To win that there might just put this out of arm's reach. You've got one M4, and it's surrounded by SMGs.
Yeah, that lurk definitely coming back into impact, not in the way that we expected it to, seeing it brought out. We were kind of building up the fact that they were going to use that as their recon system to scout out the opposite end of the map as they were incursing onto the B extremity, but, all's well that ends well, and it works out in their favor. 2 players low on this mid-take. It's two T-side pairings. Casper Sky and missed him above and down low, Tops and JoeCab, and as they've not been able to find either of them, it's now an acceleration from Equip to try and do so himself, and where he does find his one in damage onto the next. Not able to make the next his realistic conversion into what would have even still been a man down. Low on HP or silence next Casper Sky, and now JoeCab just the same, but Joe been in a world of pain with a 1 versus 4, excuse me.
And obviously
really
at this
feeling
rate,
it, man.
I was gonna say, it's 12-6, right? And everything in your body screams like, oh, you need rounds, go for it. But look at what they've got in their banks, dude. Like 0, 150, 50, 50, 400. Like, you gotta try and hang on to it. Maybe get an AK if you can salvage a gun. I mean, you're gonna look back at the VOD and be like, damn, really? They were all like 2 bullets? But that's just the way it goes sometimes, man. And they're not even going to let him get an AK. I love this contain from Young Ninjas, not letting him get an inch. Anything to help his cause. They already dealt with the MP9s like they were nothing. What's one more round of doing it? Well, that's what leads them to not hunting him down and to being okay with their 6 map points in the way that it is. Preasy, ball kind of dropped hard. We got to remember, 2 of these rounds came at the start of the game. From that point forward, it's 12-4.
Is this an all-good regain moment from Preasy right now? I don't really know how to make heads or tails of what their headspace must be like at this stage in it, is they've actually gone across the way of the player inside of A main already. They're more than likely going to have to re-clear it. I don't know if they're going to. Looks like Jobin will, but AKV MP9, despite the range advantage, it's still not going to be a duel that he'll win out. But even so, they lose out on that one, but more favorable to the Young Ninjas to know now that there were at least two players towards A. They're going to accelerate towards mid to Donut.
A lot of these, like, late round moves from the Young Ninjas have just been so concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they hear these rotations, and they've actually gone in front of this house code. Now, this is expected. It's not like it's a shock, but yeah, at the end of the day, if you just overwhelm them, there's really not much they can do as a rebuttal. You've still got a man in Donut. Becky, unknown to them. I mean, sure, you're half aware that somebody could still be here. That's why you still see them checking angles, but it is still just a deagle against, like, 2-3 rifles. And, yeah, this one's likely under wraps. So, Becky, maybe try to pull a heroic play. You've got the smoke on top of the bomb. Cause a little bit of commotion. Have them all start spamming through the smoke, but you don't have a kit. And, you know, maybe if you blasted the smoke, you can try to get in their face, but when it doesn't land, you have quite literally zero chance. So, Preasy, they get absolutely clobbered on their map pick. Again, we both thought this was theirs pretty handedly. Now, what does this lead us into thinking for Vertigo?
I don't really know. I think the Young Ninjas probably going into this one with a level of confidence that excels upon anything else. They've had good results on paper, both in practice and in play. They have a win over their opponents on their map pick, one at that looked to be absolutely, utterly dominant, with Casper Sky having time to warm up and the rest of the crew soon too, just the same, with clutches from a multitude of different players, moments of multi-frag individuality being given over to them to have their chance at showing that they have that same level. And unfortunately, Preasy just not showing the same level of maybe grip as we would come to expect from them on their bomb site holds and their CT side, nor their ability to cobble together anything to break through one singular player realistically throughout a majority of the first half.
Yeah, and I want to say that what is kind of, I'd say, the worst thing for Young Ninjas is also a little bit of the best thing. And that's the fact that going into that second half, Casper Sky had 20 kills. Ending the game, he had 24. He was not a factor almost whatsoever on that T side. And I think that's a good thing, because it required other players to step up, and we instantly got to see what this team is going to look like if Casper Sky isn't shooting off on all angles, isn't just winning them rounds with 2-3 kills every single one of them. And it was still good. It wasn't as convincing, I'll give them that, but it was still good, and answered the call when it was required of for the Young Ninjas. So now, Preasy, they can't even say to themselves, let's just stop Casper Sky and we'll be fine, because it was a whole team affair toward the end. And now, as we shift into Vertigo, things look to get even worse. Preasy, their backs are against the wall. When we come back from this break, they might be staring down the barrel of a 2-0.
Are you sick of just opening cases? Join the events! At each event, you can find special cases from which tokens fall. Tokens are your ticket into a world of unique awards. For tokens, you can buy a skin, premium, or special balance. Try your luck in the skin generator. Also, you can leave your tokens at the token vault. And the more tokens you keep, the better skin you'll get. Add variety to opening cases with Hellcase.
Do you have any unnecessary skins or want to sell them? Try Skinplace. Visit the website, select the skins you want to use. Easily fill your Steam trade link. Make sure we offer good prices and choose a payment method. Hit the button and boom! Instant cash. Safety. Low commissions. Instant payouts. Skinplace.
A lot of good for the young ninjas, but at the same time, it felt like a lot of bad from Preasy, where we kind of talked about at the very start of the game the lack of spacing and trading from Preasy that caused them to lose a couple of rounds on that CT side. But even more so, it was Casper Sky really taking this game like a spearhead, and then as soon as he fell off, everybody else stepped up. Doesn't really lead to a bright and promising future for Preasy, but if the scores get wiped to 0 on Vertigo, what do we think they've got in the tank?
I think they have a CT side to look forward to. I think that's probably going to be where they have to hope to do their best work, take things round by round at that point in time. I think they kind of have to do none other than hoping that the young ninjas give them an early opening of opportunity to get warmed up into it, find their footing, find their form for more than anything else, because they had nobody to be able to go up toe-to-toe with Casper Sky. They had players who were definitely putting up shots, putting up opportunities for rounds, pretty much across the board, I'll say, Anthran. It wasn't really a lack of, I'd say, an overarching star player individually, I think, is what they needed more so than a widespread team unification. And it really becomes difficult to crack open rounds and hold down bomb sites when one player just isn't rising above to that level and meeting an Casper Sky, who on their CT side went 20-5, as you had mentioned. He was plus 15, 160 ADR, 10 kills more than the next player on his roster. It goes into the T side, and you also mentioned this at the end of that last map, that he wasn't really a factor. He was -1. It was Yocab and Silence really doing a majority of the openings and closings for rounds, in which there were some answers here and there for the CT side of Preasy to give them a couple more rounds, but that doesn't really give us a whole lot of hope, does it?
Yeah, no, and I don't even know who to look at to say, like, you know what, maybe this person is to be expected of doing more. Maybe Tops, but even then, like, when he was back on the main Preasy lineup, which is something we talked about, you know, when everybody pretty much came through, like Nikadas and co., he wasn't ever really known as the guy, right? Like, I don't know if I expect that here either. This is just not lining up from Preasy. Like, it's not lining up to what the young ninjas have put up. It's not lining up to what we're used to seeing from them. And I don't know what's going to change. Maybe Jay Bowen steps into the play a little bit more, but all in all, it's a wait till I see it kind of game. I don't have much expectations for Preasy, but I'll be happy if we see him. What is this round?
What do you mean?
It's very weird. Nothing is really happening.
It's called a slow crawl, Anthran.
What?
We're doing a mid-crawl right now?
No, that's not real. That's not real. This has to be the first time this has ever happened.
You sound silly right now, but...
No, I'm right.
You've never seen this. Me being vacant is a little weird. That's a little weird. I think Top's playing so far off of the bomb site is the most interesting part of it, because it's given them an opportunity to play a 5v5 post plant.
I mean, sure. And they even took extra time to try.
No.
Oh, my lord. This is called clear. Oh, Lord, silence! Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But, let's not do this either, because now they know this is an isolated couple of 1v1s at the B site. That's why they're taking them so aggressively. Silence has to come up through middle at this point. He wanted to go for a very late reroute back into the B steps, but now he has to come through from the mid window, and he has to hope just for the best. Now dropping the verse and sticking the defuse means this round is right back into the pockets of the young ninjas. Jay Bowen, he doesn't have a kit nor a ton of time. In fact, I don't think they came into this round with a kit. So kill a couple more seconds, which they pretty much already have. And guess what? They will have won 3 out of 3 pistols the exact same way. Timing them out and just sitting around corners. Young ninjas again strike first.
Definitely one way of going about these rounds for Preasy. I like to see the initiative of playing towards the A ramp, but I think ever since the update, it's become kind of a gamble for Tees to even get up through the ramp by the point now where elevator is opened up wide, right? There's just so many different angles to have to worry about at deep distances where obviously you can catch players off guard as an offensive up through the side hall, just as they can you with Peeker's advantage, but again, a gamble. It's really not going to be consistent that you can rely on something like that. You can see Casper Science sending a beautiful Molotov out from the ladder, denying them a scale up and in through. And that's probably going to become super meta nowadays, actually, now that I think about it.
What, denying A scaling for mid?
That specific Molotov. How many eco rounds and gun rounds they're going to try and get up in your face fast, particularly with an AWP now with an open wall wide?
I just wonder if that change, like, helps CTs or Ts more. Because I feel like, I think it does, but at the same time, I think there's an argument to be made for it kind of helping Tees clear out some of these angles. Nuh-uh. No?
Nope. No argument.
You got
We're
it?
not arguing.
Yes, sir.
We're just disagreeing and one of us is wrong.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I do not expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologize.
No, I think that, just to give actual credence to your argument, I think personally I am going to have to say that it is pretty much CT-sided. I think the only reason it wouldn't be CT-sided is if you give up the control that you shouldn't have anyway. Or, excuse me, that you should have anyway. The T shouldn't have the control to where it is in their favor. So when they get to the point, right, you're basically playing as a CT inside of the bomb site from then onwards. But it just matters how many bodies there are. I think it's situation dependent on what kind of a side it would be, you know what I mean? It creates a lot of confusion in clutch rounds for CTs. But again, it shouldn't really get to that stage. But right now, we're getting to the stage in a 2v2 where low is Betchy and everything has gone down in the first 25 seconds of the round.
I'm actually a little surprised that they didn't just gung-ho go into B. They don't know that 2 players are here, but you can do a quick hit a tab, realize maybe a couple of these guys have typically been A players. In fact, the only guy you've known who's been at B is Top. And you dropped him early on the push. Oh, big kill from Casper Sky, though, speaking of the barrel. Round's done. Wow. I mean, look, I talked about him not being a factor toward the end of Ancient, and not necessarily being the pillar of their T side that he was in the first, but again, he's come to answer as soon as they need it, and the Young Ninjas this time, instead of having to come back from a 2-0 deficit, have started with the 3-0 and have shut down a rifle to instantly kick off this game. Preasy, it almost looked like things were going their way too. I loved how they set themselves up at A. It just felt so isolated and individual-oriented after that first kill comes through, and they're not expecting more pushes from the Ninjas.
Now having to play with a single MP9. A couple of HEs, but they're on the wrong bomb site. They've read into the wrong position, unfortunately for them. What is that structure out in the distance to the right? Did you see that? I've never noticed that. It was like a pyramid? What was that?
What? What did I miss?
Wait, hold on. We'll talk about it later next time it's on the screen, but...
There's not much to talk about here. Hell, spew.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was. It was like out in the distance behind sandbags at the corner. It looked like a pyramid for like a split second, but he was like flicking his mouse back and forth, so I couldn't really tell if it was like a awkwardly shaped building or I don't know. But
it's okay, Greg. I totally believe you. Now, let's get you back to your bed.
Okay.
Back on your meds.
Okay, Jobin and AK.
I don't know about that one just yet. I'm actually surprised you didn't get blown back to him.
I thought I would have too, yeah.
That is an office building.
No, it didn't show it. It was to
Saw
the
it.
left. It was to the left.
I saw it!
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I forgot that they just decided to
Okay, it was just an awkward angle. It was just the corner of the building elevated.
You can admit that I'm right, you know. You can do it.
No, but you didn't see it. You still haven't seen it. It's not on screen yet. I think. He thinks.
He thinks you're dumb.
Young Ninja's really making a good run at this one. It's a good enough start to where you already kind of have to be a bit worried.
Are you talking about the roof?
Yes,
The
yes,
roof
yes!
has,
You
like,
see it
okay,
now!
Yeah,
Yes!
Yeah, alright. I saw it for a moment and I was
Thank
like, wait a
you,
second.
thank you, thank you. I'm not crazy. Okay.
I'm not crazy.
Oh! What a spray, almost two, but oh,
What the?
wait, no ammo. Skase isn't holding on to the side hall at all. Yokum's able to walk through the smoke, and again, a round turned onto its head that probably Preasy should have had hand over foot. Hand over fist, that's the phrase.
You didn't have to. I wasn't gonna correct you.
Your mouth right now.
What is this angle from silence, dude? Are you serious?
Are you serious?
Oh my god!
Your whole voice cracked. That's how impressive it was. How crazy it was.
Why would you ever hold that angle? Why would it work?
Because he's got a teammate going wide.
That's criminal. That's just criminal. Oh my god. Put him out of their misery, man! Yeah, that's attack for you, as one of my friends would say. Except I had to exclude the vulgarity. But I'll never forget that moment.
Man, near broke again. Like, Betchy can buy himself. But that's it. And that's not enough.
Nowhere near. What's crazy, too, is I feel like a lot of nowadays Vertigo is very B and mid-heavy because of those weird, awkward changes at A that do kind of make it CT-sided. But it's not even like the Young Ninjas have played that. It's not even like we've seen a lot of B approach. We saw that one slow mid-crawl into a B take at the very beginning of the game. Everything beyond that has been entirely A heavy. Like, every single time. They are showing early on. You have to put emphasis on A. You have to fight them. This almost feels like it's longer-term conditioning, to where eventually they're going to see something like a 4-man A stack, a 3-man A push, and they're going to instantly swap to B, knowing it's the weaker of the two, knowing the hold isn't that amazing.
Good opening.
And I'm not talking about like
Yeah, no. This SMG, it's already put itself to good use. Hasn't taken any damage. Betchy's A1S might be able to find a couple of kills if they're able to inflict more damage with not only that, but the SMGs and the HEs. Still, the CTs look to soften, and Young Ninjas look to rebound, and opportunity is kind of limited at this point in time. I think the speed in which that kill was found, Young Ninjas have to reset, press the pause button, now. Almost a minute ticked off of the clock before their next comes in, and Mistim needs to be prepared for a boost potentially, because they were on it, but it's not going to be active yet. Head up, but he's clearing it pretty hard, and literally a pixel's off, and they could be shot down in the back right now. Blue Phoenix will have to turn, and does! Low is silenced off the back of the dink, but no dice and no frag, but still patient as ever for Jobin's next swing.
Dude, that is such a hard shot to hit. Like, it may look easy, but when all the pressure's on, you know he's about to peak, it gets so hard to actually hold down the line and be confident hitting that shot. So he does. Makes it look easy, and that's what makes him so good. In the 3-on-4, Kaspersky isn't happy with just sitting here and letting bygones be bygones. He wants more. Smelling them and plucking them out of the server. That's their only M4 ripped out of their cold, dead hands. It is recoverable. That's what Equip is going back in for. And Axe Kaspersky has let them have it, but I don't think he really cares. Going into a rifle round, what does it matter if they have an extra M4 that they can already afford, mind you? We've got our 6th and 4 left alive. Again, things are turning from bad to worse in the early stages, and Preasy don't have a thing to show for it.
We began our day an hour and 5 minutes ago. We're looking to speedrun a CCT best of 3 right now, and the Young Ninjas hot to trot. Leave Jobin on the op. and we're going to need to see a serious toe-to-toe with Silence, who's been given free reign of the map for most instances where positioning never really comes back to bite him. I love this. What an interesting concept to boost over the top side box. Deep angle for Casper Sky to actually spot out. And once he does walk across the board fast, and up is the Dane. And a good opening onto a player shutting down early that really changes this entirely.
That's so sick, dude. And is the op in B now? No. Okay, that's actually kind of a big deal. Because if they go second into B, which they're about to, I don't think the op is going to catch wind of this in time. The whole set of utility is going to come out, and it's crazy because you think this smoke is enough to stop him. No. They don't actually know that Yocab has gone all the way up in front, so he's got 3 angles into the site if he wants them. Good delay smoke, but what's that really going to do to help you? It's going to set up Betchy, and they haven't even bothered to go in past that. Now, maybe some more emphasis put on aggression because they've gotten the kill through the smoke, they've gotten the site to take control of, and they've gotten tops to 6 HP. Unbeknownst to them, but this retake is even more so delayed. Another cheeky boost comes out, but how many can you really pull through? Well, maybe enough to string around together as the crossfire is set in. They haven't cleared Yocab, and that's where the low HP is really going to come back to bite you. A 1v3 for J-Bone, who opened up the round flawlessly. Now stuck on the retreat.
Dude, even with the gimmicks, even with the boosts, even with the picks back in and out, it's the heads-up fights that once again the young ninjas just win. You can get as many of these freebies as you want, but if you can't take the hard ones, it won't really come to matter, though, Anthran, as 7 rounds have gone down transpired by this T side. The side that was chosen by Preasy, not able to put up enough of a defense once again, and not to mention that, no offense, is the substitute of Tops, not able to hold his own in his spots, give it over in this time of need. He's sank back into his seat, and so too of the rest, seemingly, as nobody is going to be in positive standing except for the equal 5-5 of Jobin, who had found the opening pick with the up, but farther than that, nothing else. I don't understand how they get into this B-bomb site without there being another kill until the second boost comes through, Anthran.
It's what I was talking about earlier about what kind of feels like partial conditioning, but at the same time, it's also kind of on Preasy, right? You've got 3 people in the region of B.
Sure.
You don't need an op and an extra rifle on the boost holding mid.
Just need a kill on the B site.
Right. And alongside that, the setup they actually intake to go about defending what Preasy throw out doesn't line up with one another, where you have Becky pushed up on the close wall, and then the nearest person is, again, stuck behind a smoke on the boost. Nobody's trying to flash or come around that generator to help their teammate. It's just an untradeable asset. And if something like that happens, it's a free kill. Right? A lot of these angles that you look at Preasy taking, like, on the fly, are very, like, if we don't hit this shot, it's a free kill and it's untradeable. That's a problem. Especially for a map like Vertigo, where you can set yourselves up well to trade. Wow, I'm actually shocked to get away with that boost again.
As am I. Good on, bro. But didn't net them around win last time, and they got worse guns all across the board this time, so gonna need a little bit more in that direction if we're gonna have an avenue of opportunity back into this. As the shots go through, Silence is up. Swings out for almost another set of kills. Looked like he would have been, but he shoots right between the 2 targets. Selection not quite onto the money. And from then on, it's Casper Sky to take matters into his own hands as he phases the smoke. Blue Phoenix to do the same center side sight. Now Mistim knows where the last was. The Captain needs to clutch up, and only one more kill. Half on HP. Mistim's AK-47 versus Becky's, who drops not only the bomb, but a smoke in front of it.
I didn't even see that he had the bomb. That sucks so much, too, because they had the round in the palm of their hands. But now Mistim has to try and attempt this clutch on half HP. Betchy, he doesn't have an advantage in the health category, but in almost every other one, he absolutely does. But Mistim's got the right idea. It just all depends on the timing. What angle does he clear and when? Well, right now, he's checking mid. The bomb is given. Betchy, I don't think he did. No, I don't actually think he did. No, he definitely didn't. But he's at least gotten the bomb in a plant. Now, this spins back on its head, and it's instantly in Mistim's favor. But where does he go with it? Right back into elevator, and ready for Betchy's swing. It is in 8th for the Ninjas.
Round after round, they grind them out, and continuously with the max loss bonus having to buy back are the CT side. Preasy not able to offer us up much of anything in the way of a response in this game as of yet. And there's still time to come. However, how much can we really give over to them before we begin to call it done and dusted? I think we might be approaching that point, honestly, even as of right now.
Say it yet. I mean, a lot of these rounds are a hop, skip, and a jump away from going the way of Preasy, and there's been a lot of cool ideas shown. It just hasn't come into execution. 3-4 rounds, again, maybe you put yourselves back to the standings of where you were on Ancient and say to yourself, you know what, pistol, and maybe we can really start to get this party started. But you know, a miss nade doesn't really help your case there, and not getting that kill on the boost makes it even harder. But Tops is going to take an aggressive angle and even get flashed in. Wow.
Almost works out right there. Not quite. Tops at least getting good info onto the a number of bodies that were down there. He had spotted one initially, and obviously they were being boosted up, so 2 in that direction, and only so much time left for them to either commit or head back towards the other direction. And they're split enough where 3 players may find themselves back at this B site on a re-execution that could very well catch Preasy off guard. Betchy still on the hold, on B-ramp duty, as Tops now has to be a little bit more concerned with mid, where X-Casper's guy has been quite considerably consistently finding impact just as well, but here they go. Flush into the site. Center, Betchy finds his, swings off the default boxes, and is able to find only the one that missed him to double up. One close, one deep, and there's nothing in the way of a defense once again, as 9 is looking inevitable.
It's crazy, too, because it even felt like they had a good idea there. You had Betchy stuck behind that box, but there was a flash set up for him, so as soon as he takes contact, he doesn't need to get the kill. He gets flashed back in. He even gets a frag off of it. But there's just so much happening, so many moving pieces for the young ninjas that you can't wrap your head around it as Preasy. And again, shell-shocked. $3,500 a pop. What are you gonna buy? SMGs, 1 M4, almost no utility, guaranteed maybe 1 kit. This is beyond dominance at this point.
One more time we see the full buy, almost actually, still keeping a couple of bucks in their back pocket. I think that's maybe to afford an AWP from Equip. Even then, I actually don't think he'll be able to afford it. It'll be very, very close. I have to assume he gets no utility and no head armor if that is going to be the case. And then even then he might need a kill. But even so, we still see Tops find that opening. That's a powerful angle.
That's the bomb. So they can rotate according to this. I mean, it's dropped in a weird spot, right? On top of the generator. But now I want to see what this B-side has to offer as a defense. It's been lackluster so far. This time, 3 players here, 5 on 3. Feels pretty invaluable to me. You got a couple of kills back, maybe. But now that Silence is really the only one answering the call, it feels like finally Preasy will get on the board. It was 9 long and hard-fought rounds, but eventually they get here and maybe try to make something of this half. You're going to have to think a little harder than that.
First round win, first conversion of a man advantage, a little bit more reactive off the initial contact made. We're Preasy there, and that's what we needed throughout the entirety of the half. So, I mean, I'd say better late than never, but really is it? It's a good look to start back up the engines, but we're at the dying embers of the defensive, and now moving into the offensive following this gun round and 1 more to go. We're going to have to see them maybe get a little more aggressive here and be prepared for that sort of a play style, maybe, Anthony. Maybe get up into the faces of their opponents once again. It could be the ticket.
I mean, they'll have another chance at running it back on the pistol.
Yeah.
But being that they're over 3 on pistols, I don't know how much hope I have. But alongside that, we also have to consider the devil of things, where it starts with a kill that Mistim probably shouldn't have give. A little disrespect in there, you got to admit.
I don't have to admit anything to anybody.
You know, you're right. My bad.
But I will admit it. An admission, the bottom side of the ramp and into the round. finds them their opening pick once more. It's equipped to do it this time around, though, and Silence not really with opportunity to get back, and as he's lost 2 teammates, it becomes all the more difficult, because Tops actually destroys the B-bomb site approach.
Alright.
He's
There's
back.
a little something more locked down. I was gonna say, this has been missing, notably, the whole time. So, what better time to start stepping up when you need it the most? I guess, maybe earlier on in the game. But, you know, we won't talk about that for now. Should be another one we go writing off, right? I don't really see a world of 2-on-5 gets pulled back, and they're even sticking around to try and deal with Silence before he can try to work this, which I like, but at the same time, you have to do it right, because Casper Sky is someone also to worry about. Flash, right in the middle of nowhere, but still full blinds him as both smokes go up in bloom. Casper Sky has quite the job cut out for him, and around this smoke, the first head's given. They're soon going to regroup, and they do have the bomb. 30 seconds isn't the most amount of time.
Spotted
it's
another.
not the least. That flash is gonna miss too. Oh my god, I was scared.
If Casper Sky is allowed to get one more 1v1 there, that just gives so much space for Silence to be able to work up and hold down. And that to what would have been a 2 versus 3. The B-bomb site's not one the CTs can just openly flood into at that rate, so it really does get dangerous from that point forward. Jobin, quick shot once again through the corner of the wall, finds the last, and gives them one more before the entrance to the second half. They've got an opportunity to close out with at least 3.
I thought for a moment they were gonna rock a double op in the last round because they dropped that, but then I just realized it was J-Bone
Dropped his own off
switching
for
out
another round.
op skins. Like,
Keeping it fresh.
of course. I mean, hell, if somebody's got like an Asimov, I'm picking it up. I think the Asimov might be the cleanest op skin. Changed my mind.
No, I don't necessarily disagree.
Finally, common ground.
I think there are a lot of clean op skins to the point where you can say, I think this is actually the cleanest op skin, and I'd be like, all right, fair enough.
True.
Nice little flick.
That's
That's
the
like,
cleanest op shot.
yeah, that wasn't like a flashy flick either. That was just a, he is here, my crosshair is here, and that's where it needs to be flicked, and that's exactly how it goes. But right now, Skase able to deal with it and handle it, forcing Silence back after a nice opening.
That trade from Skase is huge, and it puts them in such a pickle because you've got J-Bone on the rotation, another ops come through to drop it, and look, you got the opener. You might have looked clean at the opening engagement, but beyond that, it seems like it's all stocks going in the right direction for the young ninjas. Now, don't let these 2 kills fool you, because for now, it's still a 16 HP Blue Phoenix until he hits that headshot and really makes Betchy think, not again, surely, but the footsteps have been heard. The op has been grabbed, and Blue Phoenix, is he scoped in? He is, walking all the way up. I love the angle from Betchy, but it seems like Blue Phoenix knows and is ready. It's all a matter of does Betchy budge? Because if he does, I don't think you're coming away with this round win. You see him
my
nudging
God.
a little bit, but it's just a jiggle. Blue Phoenix
Oh.
seems so ready, so aware, so locked in that he finds the clutch and doesn't even let a third go the way of Preasy. He makes it look easy, and talk about clean. That's exactly what he's just delivered.
I don't even know how. What is the patience on this guy? That was what, like a 15-second hold almost? Maybe more? I don't know. But he was just sitting there idle, paralyzed on the position. In another moment where it looks like Preasy have got it done. This is everything pulled across their waistband with Skase to really afford it over to them, and the patient play pays off. Blue Phoenix, a massive moment and a highlight to show for it. To boot, he's positive now on the KD. Holy ghost.
Blue Phoenix is not the guy who gives up before the diamonds, let me just tell you. He keeps mining.
Mining away.
I don't know what to say. I actually can't remember the
Yeah, I was gonna say you're completely wrong.
carry
but
lyrics.
okay.
I mean, those are the original lyrics, so
Ooh.
better.
Snappy opening, Preasy, not known for their conversions though. Let's see if they can change things around as we flip the script to the attack T side now, where they look to do their better work, and so far so good.
Put out. We have seen way harder rounds brought back from the Young Ninjas, so I'm not counting this out anytime soon. And they've already cleared mid too, but actually getting back into the site's another thing. They've got a flash, and they've got a smoke, so it seems like they're ready. And this is a weird change to the normal flash I feel like we've seen thrown. No hat flash instead. This time they flash the wall, and it works. But equip Even blinded up gets the kill, and now it looks like this one draws to a conclusion. It takes 2 maps and 4 pistol rounds, but eventually they'll crack through and earn one of them. Preasy, that's only to muster a third, though. They've still got a 7-round deficit to try and clear.
A little bit of a melting there. It's a difference in look. A new vision of what this might mean for the rest of the game for Preasy. It's a long climb back, but a start for sure, and one that I think the CT side are going to be okay with trying to get back into it as quickly as possible without overextending their hand. Although they have a buffer, they don't want to get cocky into it, Anthran, and I like that a lot. And if they can find a couple of picks, if they can get even 2, I think that'll be a pretty successful round for them. And they're going to flood down through the steps and tops the look to shred, but I don't think he's going to be able to get away, not even with 1. Wow.
Alright. Again, I don't think it changes much. At this point in the round, when you lose that kill, you just inevitably end up going straight into A from mid. But if you can get this trade, now things really start to get worrisome. That's an 8K given. That's a 5-on-3. How do you space yourselves? You've got to go quick. No kits, obviously being what this round is, but there is a molly in play. They don't actually use it on where you would expect, instead on the back of the sandbags that are close to ramp. And they continue to scale up. Everybody isolated from Preasy right now, but these are the angles that Rifles are really going to find success. One in CT they know about, one in sandbags they know about. In fact, everybody now known the kill can't follow up. So, an exciting start, but maybe a change.
1 HP for Preasy.
Yeah. Nah, the round's already done. I mean, you can get a couple of kills, sure, but
5 kills at the end of
really.
this is still huge.
Oh,
If they can get him.
Nah, going to.
Run at him, dude.
Might as well, right?
Yeah, I mean,
late.
what the hell?
Oh, unlucky.
Truly, but even so, nothing more needed, nothing more asked of the CT side, but that was a full USP and 157 purchase. I think maybe 1 P252, but even still, that's pennies, really. They are not going to be too upset with losing that much, and I think that they're going to be even more glad with the fact that they've gotten silenced the AWP, squeaked by with that little piece of weaponry. They've got 3 players without head armor up against at least 2 Galils, so maybe that gets dangerous, but more dangerous than anything else is the HP level now left by Casper Sky, the star for map 1, and then now map 2 just as well. He's got a little bit more in a supporting cast to actually pick up the pace.
It's not a one-sided affair, though. Even Tops is struggling. 19 health. One properly placed HE that doesn't exist, but one properly placed HE could instantly throw him out of contention. Gotta make sure you don't miss it this time around. We saw him miss one earlier at B. But for now, it's just a pretty basic bare bones A take. With Mistum pushed all the way up, he catches the info early, but again, the setup is to be tested. So far, not passing very well. Everybody missing shots. That is pretty atypical of the ninjas so far in the game. And you talked about earlier Casper Sky, his HP, his health, and what he looks like. Well, here he won't look like much, because he's just going to back away after putting extra damage on the board. It's nice for the dart, but not nice for the round count.
Trying now just save onto these guns as best as they possibly can. Their money not going to afford them much in the way of a response this time around. Expected quite a bit out of this Young Ninjas team even still, but obviously going to be a couple of hiccups before they can finally close out. You can't expect the world of them every single time. They're not flawless, they aren't perfect, and even then, they do have 1 player ejected from the round by the end of it, courtesy of the bomb, blowing Skase off the map and enforcing a reinvestment onto 1 rifle at very most. Still with 3 rounds left to go, they can put pressure on the economic situation of Preasy. Now tactical timeout once more. They can get a couple of guns out even so. And 3 rifles? Okay, now we might be on for something as another one can be dropped over. Maybe a full buy in an attempt to break them. Discussion being had. Coach
When's
getting
the last time we
involved,
saw
perhaps. Timeout from the CT side.
Yeah.
Map 1, round 4, I think.
Kinda goes to show how the things have gone.
And even then, that was one you were like, why are they taking the pause? They won.
Right. I was like, why? After a round like that. I mean, sure, man. I love this molly. That's actually really cool from Becky. And they're going to get a lot of info off of that. It's not necessarily them getting a ton of damage, but they know players were here, and you can take it a little easier now as you scale up ramp. And actually, the entire defense shifts off of that. You see Casper Sky come away from mid, maybe in an attempt to help A in case it's needed, but they go back to the boost. This works very well for Preasy a couple of times. They couldn't get around with it, but masters of doing it, maybe masters of beating it, and they just drop Yocab instantly. He's caught in the unlucky side of that boost now 3 times this game.
This is flashes a buy where the CT side are actually looking to gain this ramp once more. Equipped though. Spray onto the first. Nobody else spotted near enough buy. And that's going to be the acceleration into the B site where now once again the Young Ninjas are going to have to go for the save. But I think this is actually probably best case scenario for them, being able to A, invest into these rounds heavy enough with an attempt, but also be able to save the guns. Like, they're just going to be able to buy, and as a CT side, that's not really something you can say very often, so putting themselves in good positions to where the gamble may pay off, but also, should it not, they've got fallback opportunity and option available to them.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many spots where, like, if this is a 3-on-3, you almost argue it's worse, because you're encouraged to go for the retake that isn't favorable. And you just walk in, probably end up losing, end up saving, have nothing in the next round. Tasty stuff, right? But still, more kind of solidifying your point. Currently going says that Preasy have a chance. Only 3 rounds separate the Young Ninjas from catching a valiant first win in the CCT Europe Series 8. However, Preasy are fighting back a lot more than I think bargained for from the Young Ninjas after the massive lead they had accrued earlier. And it doesn't even look like these rounds are 1, 2, maybe a couple of changes away from being won. I mean, these rounds are just looking really good from Preasy.
Oh, no.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, Skates just scales up to the top side of that ramp smoke that had been slightly blown, and he'll go down. His teammate not close enough nearby with vision gained to be able to do anything himself. And almost a moment maybe where Betchy was able to fall flat at B site with Blue Phoenix as the only one left. But able to get out and away through the backside of the wood board and drop some smoke and some utility to boot. Nobody on the other end, but even still 5v3 and 11 HP for Equip. This one is going to have to be a band of 3 to try and beat one of these 2 positions of the map. And they might have chose wrong.
You almost wondered if Preasy are going to save at this point. I mean, it's quite the weird movement they were shifting into for a moment there. I almost thought they were just going to pack it in and fork, but no, they're chilling. For now. Then 8 completely goes beside Yocab, who I don't think he's going to flinch one bit. Don't have to. You don't have to go in and get an opening pick. You're in a 5-on-3, so long as you go up, get traded 1 for 1. Hell, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's likely not to be Equip either. He's... well, maybe he leads. Maybe he gets traded. Who knows? Current standings say it's going A, though, and the Young Ninjas prepare for the worst. The end time soon to follow, and they are not fearing him at all. There's this one, and he doesn't even bother sticking around. Maybe he does, feeling himself a little more, but Equip can't find the trade. And with 20 seconds to go, this round is all but done. 11 HP stands between the Young Ninjas and their first CT-sided affair. Only 2 left to finally put this series to a conclusion. That's what they were saving those rifles for.
Maybe the beginning to the end. Spelling Tech 9 for top. The substitute sent down with that weapon to utilize while the rest have what they'd like. But Betchy putting to good use the AK-47 that's been afforded to the 4 mainstay players of the active roster as Blue Phoenix is down and out for the count, and 6 Casper Sky, who's typically that mid player to try and ward off any aggression, who's now left to take up responsibilities. Still leaves somebody else to try and keep hold of every other extremity. If they've not yet warded themselves away from it, they've stuck it in and stuck it out towards the safe sights. Silence, AWP could surely play spoiler to this one if he's timing his shot properly enough. Takes his rifle out, no rephase from him to come just yet. Eventually shall, but yet another miss will spell defeat potentially, but no, not going to be hard clearing him, not going to be scaling any farther up. He's going to be able to get out of the way and leave his player over at the sandbags undetected, volley out. Nobody holds! It's missed him, able to get yet another and leave Silence to the 1v1.
Every single 1v1 has been taken away in the favor of the Young Ninjas the whole game. Now it's Tops versus Silence. Players we have yet to see in the actual engagement go toe-to-toe in the ring. And again, look who's reading it right. Silence in the gun barrel posted up exactly for this. We saw Blue Phoenix earlier on with quite the interesting angle that he held up in the clutch, but now all but confirmed of where this is coming through from, and that flash is missed. So it's as easy as clicking mouse 1 for Silence, and another 1v1 falls their way. The gap once again increases to 6, and Preasy, you've got the entire world standing against them just to fight for overtime.
And it will be a fight, man. It's no question about it. A brawl. An all-out one. To try and claw this game over the line for one team and the other to get back into it. To get into it. As really, the string of rounds that they had gained, it was impressive enough. It had given us maybe an idea that they could fight back and bite their way through the rope that's been tied around them. Not yet, not quite. This one's even so going to be a massive upheave with one rifle, one Galil, pistols across, Tech 9s, as a matter of fact, and the rest fully equipped from Young Ninjas with nothing short of full perfection. A kit missing onto X-Casper Sky. So let's just hope it doesn't come down to him in a 1v1 clutch while his teammates all died on the other side of the map.
I don't know, because, I mean, you're putting Tech 9s against Ops, and guess what? He sees the boost, he sees the barrel, that's your one rifle gone. And look at this, for a moment it seemed like they wanted to try go up and trade, but when you have the bomb and equip, you're putting so much on the line. If that trade doesn't work, if you instantly get decimated by somebody you didn't know about, which, hint, hint, Casper Sky's right there, the round was done. The game was done. So I like the reroute, but you've essentially handed them the opening pick and now have to try and sleaze your way into a 4-on-5 with almost nothing to help you.
Pick back up.
That's not great.
Yeah,
that's their only gun gone.
Again. I mean, they're going to be able to grab it once more. Maybe. If they can get up close and through, but no, that's it. Call it done. 13-2-0, 13-6. One round better than the prior, but it will be the Young Ninjas, even so, to take this one through in a best-of-3 series in which they kind of really needed at this point against a team with a substitute, and in their opening game, they've built up some confidence. Actually, no, 6-13 both maps.
Yeah, no, it was pretty much a one-sided affair the entire time through. I mean, I'd say it was different stories as to how we got there. Again, it started well for Preasy in the beginning stages of Ancient, but then beyond that, it was just the Ninjas taking over. Same thing at the start of Vertigo, of them just taking over. Then you had a little bounce back, right? It looked like maybe there was a hope for Preasy. It was, what, 10-6, something like that? Something manageable. They did get it to a standpoint where there was a moment in time you could look and say maybe Preasy could put something together, but the answer is they didn't. They couldn't, and it's not entirely surprising when you have the players playing it the way they are for the Young Ninjas. Blue Phoenix being one of them, Silence being another, Casper Sky, all highlight reels that are just walking on 2 feet, and they could not do a thing about them for a lot of this series. Preasy, I kind of blame a lot of the spacing and the angles they would take up. I think a lot of their issues can even be summarized in that very last round we see on Vertigo, where they go for this really weird, unorthodox boost in mid, but they don't position it well. So their shoulders spotted first, and you can easily prepare for it and find a free opening pick. And then there's no trade on the player out mid, and they're in a 4-on-5, which is crazy because they took 30 seconds to reroute the friggin' thing. So there's like these massive, overwhelming issues that I feel like are easily fixable that are holding Preasy back. Again, same time, playing with a stand-in, but I don't think that's an issue that a stand-in is really going to change.
Yeah, yes and no. I disagree with that last point. I think a stand-in changes a lot of that. I think it really does make a difference in being able to coordinate with a player in different roles than he was previously. It also kind of creates a little confusion when he was a previous player in the team, where he's probably not really used to how he's functioning in the same system effectively. Especially under a lot of pressure, perhaps, to be able to perform in a situation where he's benched on the current team that he's on. He looked to prove himself outside of the system that he was in, and I think that maybe that might have come back to bite him a little bit. Clearly, individually being outclassed in at least this last map quite considerably. The first map, it was kind of across the board, a difference in individualism, but right there, I think it just goes to show that maybe Tops was pretty uncomfortable. Probably not in his prime positioning, and also probably not in his prime mentality when having to be like, okay, yeah, my old team's calling me back. It's not even the main roster in which I was benched from, and not performing probably does take a little bit of a hit to his mental, as it was probably anybody's.
Well, again, as we said earlier on, our last match of the day is a forfeit. So with this result now in mind, seems to be a quick day in the office for us. 2 O's round the board as we move on to further matches in the tournament. I think DMS Endpoint, Eyeballers Project, I believe that's all tomorrow. I don't believe that's today, alongside a couple others that are sprinkled in there. So, no further ado, that's it for us. Me and Why Not bid thee farewell, but that doesn't mean we're done just yet. We're just getting started in the 8th iteration of the CCT European Series, so hopefully we see you back tomorrow, because there's still plenty of amazing games to go. See you then.
You look into your inventory and there's only... It's time to forget about this garbage. Here you will find everything to play with really cool skins. Open top cases. Upgrade dropped skins and turn your junk into a cool gun using the contract system. Every day, thousands of people upgrade their inventory with us. Hellcase.com. Look at yourself in a new way.
Do you have any unnecessary skins or want to sell them? Try Skinplace. Visit the website, select the skins you want to use. Easily fill your Steam trade link. Make sure we offer good prices and choose a payment method. Hit the button and boom, instant cash. Safety. Low commissions. Instant payouts. Skinplace.